Hello, hello. This is the Everyday Stranger Podcast, and I'm your host, Alonzo Williams. Today is Wednesday. That's right, y'all. Today is Wednesday, which means today we are kicking off our first featured guest of the IG Stranger of the Week, where we interview a random stranger from my IG feed. Today I am joined by Meg, IG name at MEGSTROUSE. Side note, Meg's hair is the coolest. Let's go. How are you doing today, Meg?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you. So, welcome to the Everyday Stranger Podcast. Before we start, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Meg, and I live in Long Beach, California, where it's extremely hot right now, but that's okay. I do marketing and creative marketing, and I'm also a professional photographer.
Nice, okay. And are you originally from Long Beach?
No, I'm actually from a really small town in the Midwest.
Okay. And what brings you to Long Beach?
Basically, creative opportunity. I didn't really want to stick around small town Indiana and shoot weddings, so I decided to come out here and see what I can find.
Interesting. So, I mean, the volume of weddings, is it the same in Indiana as it is in California? Or
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so much a wedding family portrait kind of person. I kind of require a little more stimulation, but I have shot some weddings out here, but they've been a lot more interesting culturally. So I've done like an Indian wedding, and I've shot an Ethiopian wedding, and it's just really cool to branch out.
Nice. Okay. Ethiopian and Indian wedding. I bet that was interesting.
Yeah, they're so different, and they're beautiful, and it's just really cool.
Nice. Okay, well, I have two questions for you, but before I ask those two questions, I'm curious to know, how nervous were you when you moved to Long Beach?
I was nervous, but I was more excited, and I think that kind of overshadowed the nervousness. So I just wanted to get out here and then figure it out later.
I see you saying. I like that. Okay. Well, as you know, I have two questions for you. Are you ready?
Are you ready for my answer?
I am always ready for answers.
Sure.
Okay, great. So we're going to go to the first one, which is, what has life's greatest lesson been for you?
So I put a lot of thought into this, and I kind of live in my head quite often, and I overthink, and there's so many things I could say. So I decided to just summarize and go with this one.
Okay.
So for me, I think life is one giant learning lesson. No one is really born knowing how to do anything or how to do things the right way, whatever that is. And yeah, right?
Right.
So in order to learn that, we kind of have to live, you know? And we just learn as we go, and it's totally okay not to have all of the answers or any of the answers, really.
Right. That's what you're saying. I like that. And
yeah.
Can you also, and I love this question right here, it's my favorite one. Can you describe an experience that you've had with a stranger, a crazy one, any kind of experience that you remember the most?
So I don't know what it is about me in particular, but I tend to have a lot of stranger interactions. And some of them tend to be pretty negative, but the crazy ones are kind of negative. So I kind of just want to concentrate on something more positive, if
right.
that's okay.
What was
one
the
of
negative?
The craziest ones was, the crazy one. Oh man! So like the most crazy interaction I had with a stranger is this man came up to me and thought it was okay to lick the side of my face.
What?
Yeah, there's no conversation, no warning, nothing. Just tongue on cheek, and it wasn't pleasant. And
Oh no.
in terms of crazy, that would be the crazy one, but that's kind of negative and touches on that whole subject of consent and personal space and all of that. So instead, I wanted to concentrate on a more positive one, but less crazy.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I have family in Chicago and in Indiana, obviously, because that's where I'm from.
Right.
And I was visiting them. So I'll take the train from Chicago to South Bend and meet my family there. And typically I just like to sit by myself, read a book, just chill. Like I said, I don't really welcome negative stranger things. So that's what I typically do, and I'm an introvert.
Right.
But this older woman came and sat next to me, and I was like, okay, it's an older lady. There's no danger there. I'm sure it'll be fine. And she ended up asking me a bunch of questions and making conversation. And at first I was a little leery, but as she went on and on, I felt more comfortable. And I learned that she was running for office. She was in politics.
Wow.
She was really sweet and interesting. I was learning something from her. And we ended up creating this collaborative art piece on a napkin
What?
using the makeup in her purse. And it was really cute. She would draw something, and then I would draw something. And it was just really cool and really fun and completely different from the typical stranger interaction that I'm used to. So rather than crazy, it was just really cool. And that's the kind of stranger interactions that I'd love to focus on those and have more of those, actually.
Right, I see what you're saying. And out of curiosity, why do you feel you may have those, I guess, those negative interactions with strangers? Is it, I mean, I don't know, is it bad luck, or does it depend on where you're at, or?
Well, first of all, I don't believe in bad luck, really. That's just not a thing in my perception.
Understood.
But yeah, I feel like people look at me and just kind of make these assumptions based on how I look. And I know you can't really tell from a podcast, but I have really bright hair and I have tattoos and piercings and all of these things. And I feel like a lot of people make these assumptions based on these things that they see about me. And I feel like I'm definitely the complete opposite of what people assume.
Right.
I know they're probably just assuming, oh, she wants all this attention. She's an extrovert. She's crazy and wild, and she parties. And honestly, I am a complete introvert. I prefer to just read by myself in a bubble bath and be completely content and do that instead of going to parties and meeting a bunch of people. So I think it's mainly just people assume by looking at me that I want attention, and I'm okay without that.
That's what you say. I will say when I had checked out your Instagram, I was scrolling down your feed. I was like, yeah, she seems like a really interesting person. And then I just I stopped right there, right? Like I didn't want to assume anything other than that, because I feel like going too far would be, placing some kind of false, label of who you are. So that's why I was like, well, let me bring on the podcast and see, really actually know who she is, because I've learned that a lot, that just going off the book of a cover is it could be a dangerous thing sometime, and
it creates stories, and the creator of the story is that person. That in reality it's a story, it's not the reality.
Right. Exactly.
I don't even know if that sentence made sense, but
well, it does.
It came out. It just kind of, if you think about it. People, you have to remember that social media, you don't know people from their social media. They're posting things that they want you to see. You know, you don't see the whole story. You don't see the whole person. It's this narrative that they're creating for you.
Right.
So going off of social media is just, it's not accurate. You have to actually sit down with this person, spend time with them. And I feel like a lot of these people on Instagram and Facebook and things like that aren't exactly what they are on their social media.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
It's just a piece of them, if anything. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned that you're quite an introvert, and I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I was telling him how I used to be an introvert, and at times I still am, but I was telling him how I went from an introvert to me enjoying conversations with people, like learning from people, and I was able to actually pinpoint, where a lot of my introversion came from. Are you able to do that as well in your personal life? Are you able to pinpoint, why you may be shy or introverted? Or?
Oh man, yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. But for me personally, being an introvert and being shy and being kind of careful around people I don't know kind of stems from growing up in this chaotic environment as a kid. Growing up, I was around a lot of conflict. I was around a lot of addiction and mental illness, and I feel like having to deal with that at such a young age definitely turned me into what I am now. There's a lot of things that I developed as a behavior as a child just to survive that kind of environment. And I've learned now that those things don't work anymore. So those things that I used to do as a kid, they worked then, and it was specific to that kind of environment. But now that I'm not in it, it's just a lot of relearning how to interact with other people and how to trust people, because it was a really mistrusting kind of environment because it was so inconsistent, and I didn't know what was going to happen all the time. And now that I'm out of it, I've done a lot of things to learn that what happened back then wasn't normal, and I do these things now that I don't need to do anymore. So it's a lot of self-awareness and trying to pinpoint when I do these things and redirect that into a different arena, because growing up that way, you can't act that way as an adult. So
right.
It's been a process, and I'm still learning and I'm still healing, and I think the biggest lesson that I'm working on now is forgiveness, and it's a rough one, but that's what I'm working on now. And if you got any tips, let me know, because I'll take them.
You brought up a very key word, which is forgiveness. That was actually what the main thing that got me out of like that introversion, but not just that. It was more than just being introverted. It was quite deep rooted. And like I believe most introverts, if not all, I believe it does stem from childhood at the end of the day. And knowing that, for some reason we hold on to these memories or these experiences, the bad ones that is, and for some odd reason it doesn't hit us, but really we're kind of holding on to it for a very long time, or at least I was. And I actually had to go back into time and like forgive a lot of people, even if they didn't understand why I was forgiving them. That was just for my own personal sake. And, some of these people, they wanted to know why I forgave them and this and that. And they allowed me the opportunity to speak, which is one of the main reasons why I was an introvert, because most of the time people would just take things just as, okay, oh, he said this, I'm offended, or what do you mean by this? And then they kind of lash out at you and everything. But
Oh, yeah.
the people who actually allow me to speak, they don't realize that they just demonstrated the key solution to all introverts, which is allowing or making people feel comfortable to speak in certain situations.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely. It's a lot of fear and mistrust, and as soon as you feel safe with someone else, it's like a whole different ball game.
right. Man, you look
It's
at
not
turtles.
that introverts, yeah, not that introverts are fake. It's just we're very cautious,
Yeah, definitely.
and that's the root of it for me, is just being cautious of what this other person's intention is. What kind of person are they? Are they going to cause me pain like I dealt with a long time ago? Because the people that were responsible to kind of shape and mold me and provide this loving and supportive environment failed miserably. And it's really hard to trust anyone when the two people that you're supposed to just unconditionally trust weren't there.
Right.
So it's being mindful of yourself and what you've been through, and trying to heal and move on from that. And it's just, when you approach someone you don't know, you've got to be mindful yourself of what your intention is for giving them your attention.
Definitely.
You don't know what they've been through, what kind of things they've seen, what their life experience has been like. So it's just being mindful that you don't know what other people go through, or what they've been through, or how they are. So when I think, strangers meeting and having great experience, like me and that lady on the train, was awesome, you just got to be careful, because you never know what the other person's going to be like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally understand. And that's how it is. It's kind of, it seems like a gamble sometime, but yeah. But I'm learning it's been more of a, I don't know how to explain it, but lately I've been really growing out of it and just approaching people just for, I guess I got to the point where I don't even really worry about what they're gonna say now, and I think that's why I probably don't consider myself that introvert anymore. I guess I'm at a point in my life where I use the introversion as a tool, because one thing that introverts are good at is observing and kind of, figuring out. Yeah, you know what I mean. And
we're always thinking.
Exactly.
We may not be talking, but we're thinking the whole time.
And I think this is why, at the end of the day, an introverted individual can be highly intelligent and very filled with a lot of wisdom due to the, just the things that they've seen. Because, like I told people, if you're talking a lot, you're probably not learning much. So
you're not listening.
Yeah, exactly. So introverts have the tendency, because we're not just not listening to anything. We're paying very close attention. You see what I mean?
Detail oriented, for
exactly.
sure.
Exactly.
We know everything. We know things that you said that you don't remember you said.
Exactly. It's very true, man. So, but
another thing about introverts is other people drain the energy. Right?
Yeah.
For me, I feel like when there are people in my life that are just exhausting me, I think that it's probably because I'm not holding my boundaries as well as I should. So that's something else that I've been learning recently, is just having those boundaries, and it's letting other people know how to treat you. It's not a bad thing, and it's not offensive to have these things. And I just know that when everybody is making me exhausted, that's most likely why.
Right,
So I'm not holding my boundaries, and I'm not letting them know, like, hey, I don't have the bandwidth for this right now. Maybe in a couple weeks or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
There's so many lessons. Like, I could write a book, and I probably should.
Yeah, you should.
But someday we'll put that on the list.
Most definitely. But yeah, I mean, that's you hit it right on the nose, though. I mean, like I said, I mean, those moments when I feel extroverted, it's kind of like those superheroes, you know. You know, you see a superhero and they seem so untouchable, unstoppable, and then later down the story, you realize they have some kind of weakness. You know, like,
oh yeah.
So you see this guy,
There's
he's
always
like,
something, yeah.
yeah, you know, like me, like I have this superpower of like speaking to a lot of people on the street, but eventually, I don't know, I start getting like a headache or my eyes hurt. I don't know, something happens when my face feels really tense, and I'm like, I don't want to talk anymore. I gotta get out of here before it's too late.
You need
Before
to
I
go
expose,
recharge.
yeah, before I expose myself, you know.
Yeah. Expose your weaknesses.
Right. And then, you know, you just run to the bat cave and, you know, recoup.
Yeah, recharge.
Yeah.
Charge those batteries.
Yeah. Well, for sure.
Totally get it.
Yeah. Well, Meg, you are indeed.
Yes.
I was exactly right. You are an interesting individual, and
Ooh.
I've learned more from you than I thought I would learn today. Actually, so
Yeah, I like that.
high five to you.
I'm not offended by that at all. I think that's great.
I mean, based off Instagram, you know, that's what I was hoping for, was to
Based
learn
on
more.
my Instagram, I mean, I just look like this girl with crazy hair that goes roller skating and takes pictures. And I've been told from people on Instagram that I seem very confident, and that's something I'm working on. And that's kind of why when I post Instagram stories, sometimes I talk to the camera, because for me, that's terrifying. Like, it's a fear. Talking to a camera and then letting a bunch of people watch that's insane. But that's the reason why I do it. Like, there's no real point other than for personal growth. Like, you guys don't really care what I have to say, but
Oh, no, you'll be surprised.
I mean, I'm doing it for me, man. It's for me, honestly. But if you guys want to watch it, go for it.
Yeah. But it should start with that, though. It should start with you first, and then, you know, people will be able to sense if you're genuine. And if it's for you, it's going to come off as something genuine anyway. So, and then next you know, you have
I'm not
like,
trying to sell you. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not an influencer. If I show you this thing I'm using, it's because it's dope. Like, it's not, nobody's paying me to be on Instagram. Like, no, you couldn't pay me to be on Instagram.
Right. So, okay, so before we end, you want to let people know where they can reach you, you know, anything you want to mention as far as your business and everything. The mic is yours.
Well, yeah, I mean, speaking of not being paid to be on Instagram, you can find me on Instagram. So at Meg Strauss. I'm sure you'll probably put the text there so they can spell it right.
Yeah,
but
I'll put it on there.
I like to post my work, and I like to post, like, behind the scenes of the shoots I'm doing and just things like that, and I have really cute dogs. But that's where you can reach me, and you can find my website from there. And if you want to do some cool shoots and things in Southern California, I'm available.
That's what I'm talking about. I will say she has an epic video on there of her skating backwards. It's pretty dope.
Oh, yeah. That's my favorite, going backwards.
I was looking through the comments, though, and this one I was like, okay, I'm a weird person, because I couldn't stop looking at the telephoto lens that was on the right side of the screen. It was like in the corner.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, see, that's the telephoto lens that I love.
So you're the only person that noticed.
Yeah, I couldn't help
that
it.
the lens was kind of in the shot, and I really appreciate that.
For sure.
I feel like a lot of people follow my Instagram just because I have cool hair or something, but I really love it when actual photographers and artists follow me, and they can notice things like that and appreciate the work I do. So thank you for that.
Yes, most definitely. Well, okay, Meg. Well, like I said, it's been a pleasure, and we're going to have to get together and do a part two real soon.
I would love that. Okay. This has been great.
All right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day in Cali. Send some of that weather over here if you can, because it's really hot.
I will gladly share some of this 90-degree heat with you right now.
Oh, man, sounds good. It's better than this rain and cold right now.
You know, I'll trade you for a day. It would be great.
Okay, that's a deal. Okay, Meg. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, okay?
Okay, you too. Thanks so much.
Hey, no problem.
All right.
Okay, y'all, don't forget to tune in every Wednesday for the IG Stranger of the Week, where I'll be interviewing a random stranger from my IG feed. And, hey, look, if you would like to be featured on the podcast, or if you would like for me to be featured on your podcast, you can always send me an email at theeverydaystrangerpodcast@gmail.com, or you can contact me on Instagram, DM me at Everyday Strangers. Again, that's at Everyday Strangers. And I look forward to hearing from you, okay? All right, y'all, don't forget, tune in every Wednesday, also every Sunday, where I'll be releasing an episode every week, all right? I hope everyone enjoys the rest of your week. This is Alonzo Williams from the Everyday Stranger Podcast, signing out. Peace.